The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Monday in the Riv, the day before the infamous meeting that we're going to have.
The infamous city council meeting, and at 11 o'clock this morning.
At 11 o'clock, that's right.
Gen Andrade is going before the judge again.
And we will be there.
Yeah, we will be
and
watching.
I will be in the audience.
We will be there, for sure.
We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching.
I already logged in, so.
Yeah, when we get back, I'm going to log on and fasten my seatbelts and see if the plea is accepted. This is going to be a very interesting day.
It's going to be interesting because, number one, Jazel has gotten extensions based upon his appeal, because the appeal must be filed by the 30th of this month. So, and remember, they held off on that because of Jen's trial. They wanted to see what came up in Jen's trial. David Hebert also hasn't testified because they wanted him to testify at Jen's trial. So they wanted to find out what was going to happen there before they did anything. So we still have 3 people involved in this alleged criminal activity. And I'm going to say alleged again because...
Well, not in Hebert's case. He pled guilty.
Well, Hebert's true.
Yeah, so...
But in this criminal case, and they still haven't served time. Yep. They don't have a sentence. Well, one has a sentence. But that's questionable now because what's this judge going to do? And that was the big statements on the local radio station this morning that, you know, they think that the judge is being played. And I can agree with that.
Yeah, either that, I don't know what the hell, I don't know what's going on there. But we do know that Hebert pled guilty, and today Gen Andrade made plead guilty.
Plead guilty, right.
So then we'll have 2 out of the 3, and... so the only guy that got framed is Jazel. So Jazel's still contending his innocence.
Yes,
and,
he is.
So this is going to be a very interesting issue on as the stomach turns. So Wednesday we'll probably know a lot more, and on the Wednesday show we'll tell you what we saw at the trial, and we'll go from there. But we had a pretty lively show Friday, and. Because we were heated, and I'm still heated, and they're gonna, tomorrow they're gonna probably give the finger to the voters again, and I just want to, and I'm gonna, we're gonna write a letter to the council and citizens input. CJ and I are both gonna write some letters here, and I'm gonna remind them, as we said, look. Politics has evolved. Politicians have become politicians, not statesmen. They're not there to represent the people. Somehow, just like they evolved the narrative about you're always supposed to pay taxes every year and accept these things as the norm, which it's not true. They've also tried to evolve that narrative about, listen, when you elect me, I get to do what I want to do because you elected me, so you trust my judgment. No. I elected you to represent me. Not that I trust your judgment. You're just a lesser of all the evils that ran in most cases. But the reality is I'm electing, I try to elect people that are going to represent me, not whose ideas I want to hear about, because everybody has a right to take any position they want, but that's an individual position. But when it's something that the people have either spoken out on, or a situation like this, where we're looking at another debt piled upon the debt of Durfee, piled upon the tax increases, piled upon, and now I just paid $4 for gas.
Yep.
$4 a gallon for gas. How are people on fixed incomes and people who are making $25,000 a year going to live anymore? We're getting to the crash point here. We're getting to the point where This is going to be catastrophic.
What about the poor bugger who's got to drive 30 miles back and forth to work?
Exactly.
You know?
And, I mean, it's going to be $5 or $6 a gallon before the summer's over. And
it's already that
listen,
in California.
it's out of control. I went through a drive-through at a place that will remain nameless because I don't want to be sued by him because nobody will ever go there again. But I almost fell out of the car. This is exactly what I had. I had a pastrami sandwich with Swiss and spicy mustard, in case you want to know how I have it. So I had a pastrami sandwich and a Snapple raspberry iced tea. $17. $17 for a pastrami sandwich and an iced tea. I mean, and our council of those 6, and in this case 7 Nimrods, they seem to be oblivious to the plight of people, elderly people on fixed incomes, people who unfortunately have not a 6-figure job like all their friends have, and they do. And this is nuts. That narrative is untrue. They are not there to say, I'm in favor of Diman, so I don't want you to speak on it. They are actually malfeasant in their duties as public officials. And for the millionth time, we always talk about Article 5, but I'm going to hit Article 4. We've been hitting that lately because that's very important. In the Commonwealth of Massachusetts' Constitution, and I am reading it verbatim, Article 4, part of the first, the people of this Commonwealth have listen to this, I put it in boldface, sole and exclusive right of governing themselves as a free and sovereign and independent state, and do and forever hereafter shall exercise and enjoy every power, jurisdiction, and right which is not or may not hereafter be by them expressly delegated by them, the people. Remember, they exercise that right forever, it says, forever hereafter that we run the government. Then expressly delegated to the United States of America in Congress assembled. So that's Article 4. Article 5, which is now another clarification of that prospect. All power residing originally in the people, that's us, not the city council, and being derived from them, and that them is us. They derive all their power from us. They don't get the right to tell us we're not smart enough to vote on anything, and they're smarter than they are, so their opinion has more weight. That flies in the face of a democratic government. Because if they say we get 9 votes to outvote 95,000 people, that flies in the face of the Constitution. And, okay, all power residing originally in the people and being derived from them, the several magistrates and, here we go, offices of government vested with authority, whether legislative, that's you, City Council, executive or judicial, are their substitutes and agents, and are at all times, not just when you want to consult us, Sean and your crew, accountable to them. You don't get to say, what do you want? Do people want us to call them on everything? Actually, the Constitution wants you to ask us about everything. So this is the problem. We do not have a democratic republic. We have a tyrannical government. 9 people, what they're saying to you, that's why you better go and kick all of these people out if they don't let us speak. They are saying that 9 people have the power to override the will of 95,000. And that obviously is not true. Read the Constitution. When you got re-elected or elected to the city council, there's one guy that got elected, the rest of them got re-elected. 2 actually, Joe, but he was there before,
Yeah.
so he's taken the oath. When you stuck your right hand up and said, I swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the Commonwealth, you're not. You're not when you behave that way. And if you have that perspective, that you have that right, you do not belong in that seat. And I'm going to be looking for candidates, CAG, Citizens Alliance for Economy, will be looking for candidates for city council who understand that concept, to understand that this is a privilege that the people of this city extended to you to sit in there. And on most issues, they will say, okay, I'll defer to them. But on certain issues, like a $293 million expenditure, in a situation where this city is seeing, and this entire nation is seeing historic and crippling inflation that's only going to get worse because of what's happening on the world stage, it is unconscionable to behave the way these people are behaving.
No argument from me. And I'll tell you now, all we have to do is look at what happened in Taunton.
Yep.
Bristol Plymouth had a vote of the district, not of one town, of the district. And the district, it barely passed, 51.2%, I believe it was. And two communities, Rehoboth and I can't remember the other one right now, said no. And under their agreement, they have the right to leave their district. They can say, the hell with it, we're out. We're not doing this, because they don't want to pay for it. Imagine if Fall River said no, and Fall River said, we're out. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
Diamond would close.
Since they comprise the majority of students.
Exactly. Diamond would close. Diamond would close. They'd have no choice.
Yeah. But then again, here you go again, talking about actually cities and towns that are run the right way.
That's right.
The right way. You know, go get selectmen. Selectmen are in towns. We have a charter that requires city councils. Cities have councilors. They don't have selectmen. And but that's another issue, a civics lesson, which apparently they all need. But you're right. But Taunton, again, it's an area that is more conservative to a degree. They pay attention to the process, and they allow the people to speak. We also know what happened during COVID. Right. We also know that while our COVID mayor was passing out masks and running car parades, Taunton was revamping, the Taunton government was revamping their permitting processes, were doing things to fix issues in government to make that run better for the people. Now, Taunton's about, what, a third of our size, a quarter of our size?
Yep.
Yet they managed to actually function like a democracy, a republic. They take into consideration the people. Just look, apples, oranges. You look at Fall River, yeah, they don't care about anybody. They just trample the rights of people. I don't know how people in this city are going to exist. I don't know. I mean, their lives are going to be impacted now for a long time. I mean, who's going to go on vacation now? Even you can't leave the country. You know, you can't. You can't afford things, but now you can't even like take a ride to Maine and vacation in Maine. It's going to cost you $600 in gas to drive in Maine and then drive around in Maine, which is one of my favorite places in the summer. Besides the price of goods, they were out of water at the dollar store, the $1.25 store.
The $1.25 store now.
I stopped at the because I always get my water that. The spring water at the dollar store. So I drive by, I run in and I grab a couple of half gallons, and rather than going into a market, it's easy to run it out. You know, they didn't have bottles or half gallons, nothing, zero, zilch. Couldn't buy, there wasn't even one in the entire store in Swansea.
Yeah, I believe
Wasn't one, there were little tiny bottles this big, and there was like flavored water, but just regular H2O. You couldn't get any. So this is what we're facing. And we're facing, like I said, it's going to be crippling. I mean, the gas went, Now, virtually I normally go to the same gas station all the time. Now, over the past 2.5 weeks, it went from, 2.5 weeks ago, I gassed up, it was $3.29. Then it went to $3.45. Then it went to $3.69. Now it is $4.
I saw it $4.24 on the way up here.
Actually, when I was going to the fights Saturday night up at to watch the MMA bouts with some friends, drove down Route 6 going to Wild Wings, and the Cumberland Farms on Route 6 was $4.29.
Yeah.
$4.29. And then somebody texted me a decal that they're selling now, and it's a picture of Donald Trump holding a gas nozzle, and the caption is, "Do you miss me yet?" So, I mean, what are we going to do? You know, does the city council, did they conveniently have amnesia? Did they forget that the average per capita income in this city is $25,000? I still got all the other ones right here on the paper in my jacket pocket. The 80, the 90,000 in Seekonk, the 84,000, the 80,000. They're all double or more than double. And so, I mean, what are you going to do with stuff like this? You can't, I'm looking for it, I can't, it's in there somewhere, but who cares? It was.
I'm looking at these gas prices.
Yeah.
And $3.99, $3.99, $3.99, $4.24, $4.09.
$3.99 is about the best you can do, actually.
$4.03, $4.08, $4.09, $4.13, $4.13's at Stop and Shop and Somerset.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I found it. Seekonk, $90,078. This is the United States Census Bureau. I didn't make this stuff up. Somerset's $84,115. Swansea is $86,637. And Westport, the farmers are a little poorer. They're $79,895, almost $80,000. So fundamentally, and Seekonk isn't in this equation, but because, our illustrious Oracle at Delphi of finances works in Seekonk and likes to talk about Seekonk all the time, I figured I'd throw in Seekonk at 90,000. So you're looking at virtually twice the household income, because it's 43. So 43, 46. So you got Somerset's 84 and change. That's almost 86. 86. It is double in Swansea, and it's more than double in Seekonk, and it's just under double in Westport. So maybe if you live in Seekonk or Westport or Somerset, you can last a little longer before the $4, $5, and $6 gas prices get to you, or the $17 pastrami sandwich. I'm all done with pastrami now. That's it. I'm not having a pastrami sandwich again for a while. I can go out and get a dinner for that almost. Well, you can't. Yeah, a cheap dinner, but a dinner. I can go to a Portuguese restaurant and get a dinner for $17. I'm not going to pay $17 for an iced tea and a pastrami sandwich. I just can't bring myself
Try
to do
$45 for a baked stuffed lobster.
That's a small one.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a small one.
That's the small one. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
$45. I saw a picture of a lobster roll.
Yeah. Like with one half a claw.
$17 for this lobster roll.
Yeah.
And it had this much lobster. Literally, that much lobster. And they turned around and they said, well, the price of lobster has gone up because of supply chain.
Yeah, that's bull. My daughter, when my daughter and my son go to a vacation in Maine too, in the summer like I do. I always did. My father was born and brought up in Maine. So I've always gone to Maine, and I like Maine. I love Maine in the summer. I don't like Maine in the winter. It's too damn cold. But I love southern Maine in the summer. Portland's a beautiful city. One of the best small cities in the country. They really did a great job on that. And the Old Orchard Beach, Ogunquit area is all with Butte, Kennebunkport. Really nice up there. And I love seafood. So, but my daughter brought me back. She always brings me back a pound of lobster meat. I think it was almost $60, and that was in the summer. That was before the supply. So the supply chain is crap.
Right.
Just like now, the Democrats, because the midterms are coming, are trying to blame the gas prices on the war in Ukraine. Well, guess what? I hate to tell you this, but gas prices were up before Russia invaded Ukraine. So, but I mean, the problem is it gets back to reality. The reality of the people in Fall River is, I would probably say you could get 95% of the people in Fall River to say, yeah, you're right. I would really love to have a beautiful Diamond and a beautiful Durfee and a beautiful everything. And I'd also like to have a Ferrari, a Mercedes-Benz, a brand new Harley.
An in-ground pool.
An in-ground pool, and about $500,000 in my bank account.
That's right.
But we don't have it, and that's the problem. And let the people speak. I'm a betting man. I would bet you it'll pass regionally, but at least give the people the opportunity. Then if they don't show up, as a politician, you can say, well, I gave you the authority to weigh in on it, and when 12% or 14% show up, well, you get you get the government that you elect.
That's it. And the thing is, this isn't a hard thing to do.
No.
All the city of Fall River has to do is say no. They just have to disapprove this project, just like 2 of the communities did in the Taunton district. Okay. Disapprove this and send it to the voters. It will go to the voters. That's all it will take. But none of them can get through their thick skulls, that this is not saying you are against Diamond. This is that you are for the people to have a voice.
Yeah. And in fairness, and to be perfectly honest, the mayor did that. He withheld his comment, and then when he said I had to, he said, well, I'm going to let you know I am in favor of the project. However, I believe that people should speak. And as we said on the other shows, kudos to him, because they made sure that the people had a vote on Durfee. And this is a regional vote. It's more important because, to me, when you look at this project versus Durfee, Durfee obviously is a Fall River project. Because, the people who go to Durfee, they live in Fall River. It's part of the Fall River education. This is a regional project. And a lot of this region is far more well-to-do than us, yet we get the majority of the burden of paying.
Right.
So this is why it's more important to let the people of Fall River weigh in. And even absent the fact of the way this economy is going, and it's a total disaster. It's a total disaster. And, somebody said, did Sean leave you off his Christmas card list? I was never on it, just for the record. So, but, the fact is that this is a violation of their duty under the Constitution. Forget about the damn charter and its $5 million thing. They are not there as dukes and duchesses, as elected monarchs now who are running the show for the serfs. They are, by our Constitution, which, by the way, predated the United States Constitution, they are our representatives. They are at all times, not just when they want to ask us. Which brings me to another thing. I truly believe that when we're looking for city council candidates, I'm going to make sure that I'm looking at council candidates that have the philosophy that they will not vote for any breakdown of any appropriation. When we see these appropriations that are $8 million and they break them up into pieces so they can circumvent the ordinance, I want a city council that will vote no. If it's going to be $8 million,
it's $8 million.
It's $8 million. You're not going to break it up into 4 little pieces.
Like the school department does.
Yeah, like they do all the time. And don't vote for it, because that's, the law is not optional, or at least it's not supposed to be. But when it comes to politicians, it is. It is not. The law is only used when it benefits them. When it doesn't benefit them, they totally ignore the law.
I agree, and we've seen it too many times. We've seen it happen too many times.
Yeah.
I mean, the most recent slap across the face to the voters and to the citizens was when Durfee turned around and said, well, this project for all the athletics fields is going to cost us $6.9 million. That triggers the voter thing. But we're going to do it in pieces.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the lights up now. That's going to be $1 million, 1.2 million. And then we'll put this in. Then we'll put that in. That's how they do it.
Yeah, of course. Well, let me float an idea here. You see how quickly they'd have that attitude. If we determined that, okay, all like I said, it doesn't bother rich people to pay $2 more for gas. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars, these people. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're making $200,000 a year, $400,000 a year. They got one job for $200,000, another job for $40,000, another job for $35,000. They've got spouses that are making the same kind of money. So how about someone proposes this? In the city of Fall River, we have a $25,000 per capita income. Okay, let's do this. All these richies that don't care about inflation, don't care about the cost, the insignificant tax rate that will put poor people out of business. Why don't we just have a graduated assessment? If you've got an income of $400,000, you're gonna get the same property tax to a retired person who's living on $18,000 a year, and someone with $400,000 a year is going to pay fundamentally the same amount, maybe a few more dollars because his house may be worth another $200,000, but that's only going to be that's minuscule in a ratio and proportion. So how long you think this attitude would last if they had to pay the freight? All the people with the big money are going to have $6,000 attached to their tax bill, and the poor people get a waiver. Huh? How long you think they'd have this attitude? And that's the problem. They don't suffer. They're not living in a three-decker. They're not trying to make rent. They're not an owner-occupied three-decker that's trying to make ends meet, pay his tax bills, pay his water bills, pay everything, as you well know. They don't care. They don't care. There was a call for Donald Trump. Show us your tax returns. So I'm saying, all right, all you big advocates that are living up in the North End, your Nancy Pelosi-like mansions, eating your $15 a pint ice creams. Show us your total income. Let me see your tax return. Let's do it that way. Let's do it truly. Let's have the buzzword for all the liberals. Let's have true equity. Let's have true equity. You can afford a lot more than some guy that's working two jobs, one at McDonald's and the other one at Burger King. You can afford it a lot more. So why don't you pay what you truly can afford? And you know how fast they'll run away from this?
Oh, I know.
Because they don't like it, because it doesn't affect them. And I found one thing about it. When you got no dog in a fight, you don't really give a damn.
Well, as you said, they want true equity, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's for everyone but
them.
The rich.
Yeah.
And the deserving.
Remember Nancy Pelosi? Oh, I'm not in favor of stopping us from doing trading, even though we do insider trading, and I've made like $300 million trading stocks with insider information, but the hell with that stuff. You can't take that away from us. This is a free society.
Yeah, exactly.
Take anything but my money.
Yeah, don't touch my money, please. And get the homeless people off my front lawn. I don't want them there.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for today's show. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for inviting us into your home. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And on Wednesday, we'll have the Gen Andrade story. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.